Let's talk about the control environment inside a company, and really it starts at the top. Top management. If top management is serious about controls to make sure that things are done properly and things are done in an above-board, transparent fashion, then it's going to happen. If top management is cutting corners, well, there's nothing else that can be done because it starts from the top. Inside a company that has a good control environment, there'll be an organizational structure with checks and balances so that you can't have rogues going off and doing various things. There'll be an independent audit committee. I mean, who does hire the auditor? To whom does the auditor report? In a company with a good control environment, and this is also, by the way, an independent audit committee is one of the aspects of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. You got to have an independent committee on your board of directors, people who work outside the company, who aren't day-to-day there at the company. They hire the auditor, and the auditor then reports directly to them. So they, this independent audit committee, as representatives of the shareholders, they're hiring the auditor. They're getting feedback from the auditor. It's not going through the CEO. It's not going through the CFO. This is all part of the control environment. But remember, it starts at the top. If top management is dirty, dirty things are going to happen. What specific control activities are there in the business related to this internal control? Well, these control activities are the policies and procedures that provide reasonable assurance that the company's obligations are met, the financial reports are accurate. So there are lots of different types of control activities. Let's talk about 5. Segregation of duties, my personal favorite. Proper procedures to make sure that only authorized things happen. Physical control over assets and records. Adequate documents and records. You can't have good financial statements. You don't have adequate documents and records. And finally, independent checks on performance. Independent checks. Those are 5 types of control activities. Segregation of duties. A very simple but powerful internal control activity. Can be summarized like this. Hands that touch assets should not also be allowed to touch the accounting records over those same assets. Let's illustrate that with a supermarket. We've all been to a supermarket. A lot of cash changing hands in the supermarket. Cash is a dangerous asset, but it's very attractive to somebody who just wants to slide it off and put it in their pocket. Well, maybe you've never thought of the cash register as an internal control device. Maybe you've never thought about it at all. But the cash register makes sure that the hands that touch the assets, the cash, that's the cashier, do not also keep track of the records, do not touch the records where we keep track of how much cash you've got. That goes into this machine, which goes then to the supermarket computer. The record keeping for the cash happens in that machine, the cash register. The person who touches the cash physically, that's the cashier. Those responsibilities are separated. If you had the cashier writing down or typing in how much cash was received, possibility of abuse there. They get the inventory in a supermarket. The people who are on the loading dock, accepting the supplies, signing off on those, the people putting them out on the shelves, they're not the same people who are in the back room keeping track of the inventory records, keeping track of what's been ordered, things that have been received, what's been paid for. You got to keep those things separate. Otherwise, inventory can be lost, misplaced, or stolen, and then covered up by the person who's responsible for that if they have access to the records. Now, this segregation of duties is tough to do in a small business because you don't have a lot of people who can do a lot of different things. It's a challenge in a small business to have proper segregation of duties, a very important control activity.